Despite the talks, bombs continue to fall. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights says more than 50 civilians were killed by Russian airstrikes Sunday on Islamic State-held territory in eastern Syria. Moscow confirmed its bombers carried out an attack, but says only militants were killed. Since entering the war in 2015, Russia has reversed the major territorial losses suffered by forces loyal to Syrian President Bashar al-Assad.
So while Russia is now playing peacemaker, it is its military intervention that has really started to create what seems to be an emerging victory for Bashar al-Assad.
He was aided by a fractured opposition, but for the first time at the Geneva talks, the different factions will be represented by a single unified delegation. They're demanding that Assad plays no part in Syria's future.
Everything on the negotiating table is up for discussion.
Western powers accuse Assad's government of gross human rights violations, including the bombing of civilians and widespread torture and killings. But their demands for him to be removed from power have waned. While Russia and Iran have backed Assad, Western powers, including the United States, have supported moderate opposition groups battling Islamic State. Kurdish forces control swathes of the north, angering Turkey, which has sent troops into Syria. On all sides, war weariness has set in, says Kinninmont.
The conflict in Syria has been started by local causes, but fueled partly by international intervention. So there's a chance to de-escalate, partly because the international powers don't really want to be fueling this war anymore. However, the goals of the uprising in the first place, to fight dictatorship, to have a more dignified way of life in Syria, none of those have been met.
As with the conflict, rival powers are seeking to influence the peace. Russia launched a round of talks last week, separate from the Geneva process, in the Black Sea resort of Sochi. Syrian opposition groups are divided on whether to engage. Meanwhile, the White House says both US President Donald Trump and Russia's President Putin stressed the importance of the Geneva talks in a phone call last week. Henry Ridgwell for VOA News, London.